Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check in with the jet stream right now, we've got an interesting look right now. We've got zonal flow across the lower 48 right now, but we've got a mess when you look out towards the Pacific right now. We've got a high over low pattern right now across parts of the Pacific right now, but it's just kind of wreaking havoc. And then you look off to the north, I've got all these circulations as well. And so the mess that's going on right now is going to kind of impact how things evolve here across the United States here. And it's a pattern that's going to keep things warmer and wetter across the Northeast region here across or over at least the next 5 days or so, flipping to a cooler pattern as we get into mid to late next week. We'll take a look at what that looks like here in just a moment. But seeing a lot of cool air here on the 1 to 5 day outlook here. But then when we take a look at the 5 to 10 days, watching for this cooler air to kind of filter into this region. As we take a look at the precipitation forecast, week 1, again, keeping things active here from parts of the eastern Corn Belt where we badly need some rain all the way into the northeast region where we've actually seen some flash flooding over the last 24 hours or so. As you look to the week 2 time frame, keeping things closer to average, but I got to tell you, I got some low confidence in the week 2 time frame right now, so I'm showing you to show you. But I'm also letting you know that there's very low confidence right now, high variability. Each run-to-run appearance from each of the weather models here is drastically different every 12 hours. So the meteorologists, your local meteorologist, pulling their hair out. And right now I'll show you some uncertainty here towards the end, but right now we'll just focus on that week 1 time frame. The last 24 hours, again, seeing some showers and storms across parts of the northeast region, some flash flooding in parts of Pennsylvania, one location seeing up to 5 inches over 1 hour's time. So hit or miss in this area, but where you got hit, some of you did get hit pretty hard with some heavy rain. Also some severe weather in there. A couple supercells here across parts of the Central Plain produced a couple of photogenic tornadoes. As you look up toward the northeast region, seeing quite a bit of damaging wind there. So some heavy rain and some gusty winds with those storms. Here's a look at one of those tornadoes here shot by Mikey Gribbles, a storm chaser who I know in parts of Kansas. And so there was one of the tornadoes there near Junction City, Kansas yesterday evening. So an active pattern right now, and it'll stay that way for the next 4 or 5 days at least. Checking in on the last 30 days of precipitation, percent of normal. Again, watching a dry corridor across the Corn Belt, and then watching a dry corridor here in parts of the Northeast right now, northern portions. As you look off to the south, we have seen quite a bit of shower and storm activity, and that again is going to continue through the weekend and perhaps into early next week. So keeping things wet across parts of Pennsylvania and across parts of southern New York and eastward from there. So we look at the satellite picture here on Friday morning. We're looking at infrared, so looking at the cloud top temperatures here, watching all kinds of thunderstorm activity across parts of the Central Plains into the Midwest right now. Quiet for the time being across the Northeast region, but we got a frontal boundary stalled through the area, and that's going to keep showers and storms in the forecast as we head back into the afternoon and evening. Looking underneath those cloud tops, again, here is the shower and storm activity off to the west here across the Central Plains, parts of the upper Midwest. Again, some very light showers making their way through parts of New York State, northern New York State there, New Hampshire, Vermont, and parts of Maine. Quiet off to the south, though, for the time being. So you look at the surface map here. This is from the National Weather Service right now. Here is the system causing the showers and storms off towards the west. Here's that frontal boundary in the northeast right now, keeping things on the wetter side as we head through the weekend right now. And we'll be watching for this system to kind of track this direction, riding up and along that frontal boundary, just keeping the front kind of stalled out in this region. And that's what's going to keep showers and storms in the forecast from the Corn Belt into the northeast region. If we jump ahead, looking at Sunday now, or Saturday evening, I should say, again, here we see it just kind of remaining active right in this little corridor here. The high-res rapid refresh model, this will take us through the next 24 hours or so, watching this light precipitation activity making its way out of the area here Friday morning, but then we'll be watching for things to flare back up in this corridor as we head through the afternoon. So let's take a look, let's take the drawings off and hit play here, and there you see it as we head into the afternoon. Again, not widespread, it's going to be similar to yesterday, but certainly some folks getting set up for some downpours across the region here, again, as these showers and storms flare back up with the heating of the afternoon and the evening sun. Take a look at the high-resolution NAM model. This will show a similar picture, but take us a little bit further into the weekend. So starting off Friday morning again, here's the light precipitation activity, watching for things to flare back up in this area as we head through the afternoon. There's round 1 this afternoon. We head through the day Saturday, watching for another round right in that same corridor. And then Sunday, this model freezes here at 1 p.m. That's as far as it goes, but we'll look for the same thing, showers and storms flaring up in this general region. Total accumulated precipitation from this plot, again, look at the scattered nature here, keeping showers and storms in the forecast here, but there are holes, there are pockets in there where folks are going to get missed, but then certainly opportunities for the opposite. There are some folks to pick up an inch or two with some of these heavy downpours accompanying some of the storms moving through the area. So an active pattern, not one that's going to soak everybody, but a good handful of you probably going to end up with a downpour here as we head through the next couple of days. The severe weather forecast keeping a marginal risk here in parts of the northeast region Saturday, this would be Friday, Saturday, and then we've got Sunday. This is now when the frontal boundary is trying to make its final push across the region, so perhaps some severe weather in the forecast in western areas on Sunday. And then we'll have to watch how things evolve here on Monday, perhaps bringing the chance of some strong storms back into the region. So where are we headed here? From here, I should say. We're looking at the European model now, 500 millibar height anomalies. And here is the wave right now, keeping things active across parts of the Corn Belt. Really just got ripples within the flow here. Again, it's zonal, but we've got each of these little perturbations that we see within here cause, chances for showers and storms across the region. So a complex and active pattern that we're going to have to kind of dissect here over the next week or so. And as it goes out further and further, our confidence gets a little bit lower. So let's take a look. Let's play this out. We'll take it in through the next week or so, which is about as far as my confidence will allow us to take it. Let's go ahead and we'll bring it back. Let's step through time, taking it through the weekend. And again, we're going to watch this low over the Canadian prairies kind of amplify and then dive to the southeast. That's what's going to give a reinforcing shot of some cooler air out of parts of the Corn Belt here as we get to, or in the northeast region as we get into next week. Here you see it right now kind of diving into the northeast region as we get into the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. Before that, watching a little bit of ridging, so the opportunities for some warmer weather as we head through the early parts of next week, but then certainly it does look cooler as we get into mid to late next week and then by next weekend. Looking at the 500 millibar wind speeds right now, this kind of helps us pick out the short waves, those little disturbances embedded within the flow that bring the chances for the showers and storms. Again, here's the corridor of stronger winds blasting across the Central Plains. That's what's bringing the active weather, the severe weather to parts of the Central Plains and the Midwest here as we head through the next couple of days. Let's go ahead and play this out. Same thing. Take a look at where we are headed. Really interesting pattern. It almost looks like we're looking at, the wavy lake top or something, the way we see things kind of just, flowing through the region here along the Canadian and U.S. border. But again, just keeping things active until we get towards the end here. And you see that final push where the jet stream dives in right there late next week, bringing that cooler weather that's now sitting over the Canadian prairie, displacing it off to the southeast, bringing that into parts of the Midwest and the Northeast region. Here is the temperature anomaly forecast, and so we're looking for these cooler temperatures. The blue and the green shading, that shows the areas of cooler weather. Obviously the warmer temperatures here, the warmer colors showing the warmer patches. So near average across the region right now from the eastern Corn Belt into the Northeast region. We'll watch for cooler temperatures to build in the Canadian prairie before sinking off to the southeast as we head into late next week. So let's take the drawings back off. We'll hit play on this and let it go. There's the cooler weather in the Canadian prairie. There it goes sinking into the Corn Belt and the Northeast region as we get into, this is now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's mid to late next week that we see this cooler weather spill in, and that is temperatures anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees below average. So certainly a cooler pattern as it stands now if we really do see this spill in. And obviously low certainty, so it could look a little different, but this is a consistent picture now between both the European and the GFS model. Looking at the Cape forecast right now, so the instability that drives the thunderstorms, looking for the chances for, again, thunderstorms and potentially severe weather. So this will help us kind of show the evolution of the air mass as well. As we head through the weekend, definitely keeping things a bit unstable across the Northeast region, and you can kind of see a frontal boundary stalled across the region. And then as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday now, this is getting into Wednesday, you're really seeing that push of cooler and drier air. You can see a front kind of right here, pushing off to the south Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That cleans us out, brings in a milder, a less humid air mass, one that's not going to be supportive of widespread storms. So it's kind of this weekend into early next week. We'll keep the showers and storms in the forecast, but by the time we get to mid to late next week, looking like we'll kind of quiet things down. As such, we'll take a look at the precipitation forecast then. That should align with what we've just kind of dissected, looking at the upper level flow and our air mass in place as we take it through the next couple of days, watching for showers and storms flaring up each afternoon across the Northeast region all the way through Monday and now Tuesday, Getting into Wednesday morning, that's where we see the final push. Here's this area of low pressure swinging through the region with a frontal boundary kind of draped off behind it, bringing the last push of showers and storms into the region. Here Wednesday before high pressure on the backside, we see the high pressure right now moving into the Midwest, into the Great Lakes, keeping things cooler and quieted down by the time we get to mid to late next week. Total accumulated precipitation right now, we'll just play this out. This is the raw output from the European model. And again, we see this corridor, again, from the northeast region into parts of the eastern Corn Belt where we do stand a chance to see some significant rainfall here, at least in scattered nature, but definitely need some of that here across portions of the northern portions of the northeast region right now. Parts of Pennsylvania, again, already seeing some heavy rains and looking at the chance to get a little bit more. So moisture is certainly a surplus in the state of Pennsylvania. As we look at the European model, we're looking at the ensemble output now, the probability of at least 1 inch of rain or of rainfall over 1 inch. And then on the GFS, we don't have the same thing, but we've got the ensemble mean. So we're looking at the average output between all of the GFS solutions. And so we see a similar picture here. We're picking up on this area of heavier rain across parts of the Corn Belt. This is good news for folks out there. But then we do see the heavier rain in the forecast here across the entire northeast region, from Pennsylvania all the way northward to the state of Maine on both here. Near 100% chance of over 1 inch of rain here on the European model, and on the GFS model seeing the shading here between 1 inch and 2 inches. So definitely looking like both models agree here on an active wet pattern across the entire northeast region from Pennsylvania northward to Maine over the next week. High temperature forecast just to finish things out here, anywhere from the low 70s to the lower 80s for the day on Friday and Saturday. Sunday warming up slightly, mid 80s to the mid 70s across the northeast region. Monday and then Tuesday, keeping things right around average, keeping things in the low 80s to the upper 70s across the northeast region. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video, and I'll have your next look at the northeast region on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.